Chapter 1161, Returning to the Ancient World. Jian Wushuang talked with Xianxia for quite a long while. They talked about the changes in the ancient sect over the 2,000 years and other trivial things. Their meeting lasted almost half a day, but during this period of time, Jian Wushuang had never inquired about Xianxia's real identity or background. Nor had Xianxia unveiled them to him. Jian Wushuang did not want others to know that he was still alive. Therefore, he only visited his master and then left the ancient sect. Jian Wushuang, your master has a big secret, Jiyu King said in a serious tone. I know, Jian Wushuang nodded. In fact, he had discovered that a long time ago. If my assumption is correct, your master does not belong to this green fire world. He must be from the eternal chaotic world and is probably a big shot, a top-notch existence in the eternal chaotic world, Jiyu King continued. Are you sure? Jian Wushuang asked, furrowing his brows. Are you sure that my master Xianxia is a top-notch expert in the eternal chaotic world? It's just my guess. I'm not certain about this. Jiyu King went on. During my journey in the eternal chaotic world along with King Luo Zhan, I met a great many top experts, and some of them were full of mystery. However, your master is more unfathomable, mysterious than any expert I've met before. How come such an incredible expert was willing to stay within the green fire world? He even has kept a low profile, served as a palace master of a sect and accepted several disciples. Why? What's his intention? Hearing this, Jian Wushuang wrinkled his forehead into a frown. Xianxia's real purpose? Jian Wushuang wondered cluelessly. In his eyes, Xianxia had always been a mysterious, easygoing, and casual elder. Most importantly, Xianxia had treated his disciples very well. He had patiently instructed his several disciples including Jian Wushuang in cultivation and gifted them plenty of treasures. Although he had done so much for them, he had never asked them to pay back. Is he really selfless? Or does he think that my 3 senior brothers and I are still too weak to help him? Jian Wushuang thought to himself and then shook his head. Anyway, Master is my savior and I am willing to return his favor even if I need to sacrifice my life. I do not care what his aim is. As long as it does not infringe my principle or it is not evil, I will do my best to help him. Jian Wushuang said, a determined look in his eyes. Jiyu King stayed silent for a while, and then said, take it easy. I can feel that your master treats you sincerely and is unlikely to have the intention of utilizing you. If you're really determined to return his kindness, you should try your best to enhance your strength. Now you're not strong enough to pay him back. Jian Wushuang smiled bitterly. He was well aware of that. Although he had stood at the summit of Green Fire World, he still had a long way to go if he wanted to catch up with the top experts in the eternal chaotic world. If he wanted to be of some help to Xianxia, he had to cultivate harder to improve his battle strength. Jian Wushuang, what's your plan? Are you going to head for Star Island? Jiyu King asked. Star Island? Jian Wushuang repeated to himself. That was where Lineage of Stars chose their disciples. Jian Wushuang had once been a disciple of Lineage of Stars. After passing the trials in the Black Tower on the Star Island, he had been freed from Star Island. However, plenty of people were still trapped there, and some of them were Jian Wushuang's good friends. Besides, Jian Wushuang had made a deal with Tao Master Kongming on Star Island. Kongming had given him a dragon phoenix fruit in exchange that he must return to Star Island in 100,000 years and try to pass the ultimate trial to set him free. Being a Tao Master now, Jian Wushuang was qualified to accept the ultimate trial on Star Island. I'll go to Star Island one day, but it can be postponed. Now that I've come back to Firmament Territory, I plan to have a look at my hometown, Jian Wushuang answered. You hometown? Do you refer to the ancient world? Jiyu King was stunned. Yeah, Jian Wushuang replied, with a bright smile appearing on his face. He was from the ancient world. He was born and bred in the ancient world. He had been in his hometown for just dozens of years, while spending more than 2,000 years staying in Green Fire World. Despite that, Jian Wushuang still loved his hometown more. The ancient world is my root. I left there 2,000 years ago. I want to know what it looks like now. Is Sword Marquis Mansion still there? Jian Wushuang was eager to come back, clasping his hands. He took leave immediately. As a plain world, the ancient world was just a small part of the green fire world. To enter the green fire world, the warriors in the ancient world needed to break through a series of barriers and overcome lots of hardships. However, experts in green fire world could easily step into the ancient world. Jian Wushuang quickly found the way leading to the ancient world. There were countless ancient worlds, and Jian Wushuang's homeland was one of them. It was called the Divine Land. The waves rolled up on and off above the sea, with the clear, blue sky reflecting in it. The void above the sea began to crack, and the cracks quickly extended and covered hundreds of miles, looking like a huge spider web. All of a sudden, it shattered and a huge space black hole emerged out of nothing. A red-robed figure slowly walked out of the black hole after its appearance. With the arrival of the figure, the black hole releasing terrifying devouring power began to shrink. Within a few seconds, it disappeared. The world fell silent again. Here I am, my ancient world. Jian Wushuang was floating on the surface of the sea. He closed his eyes and breathed the air around. He opened his eyes again after a long time, with a joyful smile on his face. I'm back. I come back. Jian Wushuang cried out with a delightful smile. He raised his hand and swished it gently. The surrounding void immediately broke into fragments, and then a crack which extended several thousands of kilometers turned up. The space of the ancient world is indeed delicate. Even 1 or 2 eternal realms can easily smash such a world. Jian Wushuang sighed secretly while shaking his head. Soon Jian Wushuang's strength of soul began to spread around the world. His strength of soul covered this world instantly without meeting any obstruction. Nanyang continent is over there. Chapter 1162. Xianxia of Sword Marquis Mansion. Qianzhong dynasty was one of the many dynasties in the Nanyang continent. Small and weak as it was undoubtedly one of the most ancient dynasties in the continent. No one dared to look down on it. When it came to the dynasty, what most people would think of first was not their imperial house. Instead, it was a particular faction. That faction was Sword Marquis Mansion. Sword Marquis Mansion had existed for over 2,000 years. In the beginning, Sword Marquis Mansion was just a small force in Qianzhong dynasty. It gradually became the overlord and now enjoyed higher prestige than the imperial house. It even saved the dynasty from hostile occupation 1,000 years ago. Sword Marquis Mansion left other factions and dynasties in the Nanyang continent in awe. It was said that Sword Marquis Mansion owed its prestige to its extraordinary founder born 2,000 years ago. The patriarch's insurmountable power and contributions to the mansion was a legend in itself. Bashui Commandery. The entire Bashui Commandery was now under the control of Sword Marquis Mansion. The base of Sword Marquis Mansion was located in its capital. It was a busy street full of people, making for a boisterous scene. Inside one of the taverns that lined the street, 2 warriors sitting opposite each other were chatting over food and drinks. Have you heard? Half a month ago, the genius from Sword Marquis Mansion joined the Eastermost hunt and claimed the first place among all the talents from 10 dynasties. Rumor has it that this genius won with ease and didn't even use his full power. Of course. Everyone has heard of it. He truly deserves his title as the top-notch genius of Sword Marquis Mansion. I remember that he's called Jian Xiaoyaro. But if he's that strong, why isn't he on the earthly dragon list that Qianzhong dynasty issues? Earthly dragon list? That list only focuses on Qianzhong dynasty. It's not a big deal. I heard that Jian Xiaoyaro made a name for himself in a large empire and even ranked first among the geniuses there. He's amazing. Of course. Sword Marquis Mansion is also powerful. Their geniuses are all excellent. No one overheard their conversation as the 2 of them occupied a private room. Yet, a scarlet-robed young man who was sipping wine by the window heard their conversation loud and clear. The liquor here isn't as good as those in the green fire world, but there's a unique taste to it. I like it. Jian Wushuang thought, smiling. Then, he shouted, "Waiter, bring me 100 jars of this liquor." "Yes, sir." A waiter immediately replied. Jian Wushuang continued to savor the fine liquor, but his mind was busy pondering over the 2 warriors' words. Jian Xiaoyaro, a genius from Sword Marquis Mansion? Since I left 2,000 years ago, I worried that it might have been destroyed. Not only has it survived, but it's becoming even more prosperous. It must be thanks to Uncle Xiao. Through his soul power, he had long detected that there was a puppet fighter inside a deeply hidden secret chamber inside Sword Marquis Mansion. It was a puppet fighter of the divine realm. It was undoubtedly a terrifying existence in the ancient world. It was unlikely that Sword Marquis Mansion acquired the puppet fighter on its own. It must be Emperor Xiao's doing. After all, Jian Wushuang had asked him to take care of Sword Marquis Mansion. The owner of the tavern, with several waiters following behind him with jars of liquor, walked up to Jian Wushuang. "Sir, here is the liquor you asked, 100 jars in total. Would you like to pay it with spiritual liquid or elixirs?" the owner asked, smiling. Jian Wushuang was stunned. It occurred to him that he had just arrived in the Nanyang continent and he did not keep any of the spiritual liquid or elixirs that were used as currencies here. Though he possessed plenty of treasures, they were from the green fire world. He did not know if the tavern owner would recognize them. Even if the tavern owner knew them, Jian Wushuang would not trade them for his liquor. Those treasures were so precious that any of them would bring the owner great trouble. "Could you excuse me for a moment? I'll pay the bill later." "Of course, I'll be leaving my sword as a pledge for the time being," Jian Wushuang said, handing the owner the Blood Mountain sword. "But..." The owner furrowed his brows as he looked at the sword that Jian Wushuang had placed a layer of restriction on to seal its aura. He used his will to make the sword reveal a hint of its power. Even the faint hint of power frightened the owner. The owner immediately said, "Sir, there's no need to pledge your sword. Just take the liquor." "Oh." Jian Wushuang raised an eyebrow. "Well, thanks. Don't worry. Someone will come here and pay for my liquor soon." He waved his hand and the liquor disappeared. He then excused himself with a smile. The owner heaved a sigh of relief after watching him leave. "Boss, is that lad an expert? Why did you let him go without taking his sword?" a waiter asked in a whisper. "Expert?" the owner replied, narrowing his eyes. "You're right. He is an expert, a genuine one. He must be in the primordial gold core or yin-yang void realm at least. I'm sure about this. But why would such a top-notch expert fail to pay for his liquor?" Confused as the owner was, he did not give much thought to this. However, he was clueless to the fact that the young man was tens of thousands times stronger than he had imagined. Jian Wushuang walked towards Sword Marquis Mansion after leaving the tavern. "Jian Wushuang, you're really something to even attempt leaving your Blood Mountain sword behind as a pledge for your bill. If your master finds out, he would probably die of anger," Ji Yuqing joked. Jian Wushuang laughed cheerfully. Well, the situation called for it. Just then, a group of people riding wildebeest beasts appeared at the end of the street and slowly strode toward him. A grim-faced young man was in the middle of the group. Young as he looked, his eyes were exceptionally sharp. He had evidently undergone lots of ordeals and troubles. He carried a long sword on his back. Jian Wushuang recognized that long sword at once. Triple kill sword? Looks like he's that incredible genius from Sword Marquis Mansion. Chapter 1163, Blind Old Man. Triple kill sword was extremely important to Sword Marquis Mansion. Jian Wushuang recognized it at once even though the one in the grim-faced young man's hand was reforged. "Looks like I found someone to pay for my liquor." Jian Wushuang grinned. He then walked up to the young man. The moment he took the first step, he morphed into someone else. His scarlet robe was replaced with a rugged sackcloth. He turned into a white-haired and blind old man wearing a pair of torn straw sandals. He disguised himself as a lonely and blind old man walking on the street alone with a bamboo stick in hand. The sound of hooves of the wildebeest beasts became louder as the group of people neared. The pedestrians made way for them except Jian Wushuang. He slowly walked toward the group as if he did not hear anything. Soon the group caught sight of the blind old man. The disciples riding the wildebeest beasts belonged to the younger generation of Sword Marquis Mansion. Several of them showed their anger when they saw an old blind man getting in their way. "Blind old man, did you lose your hearing as well as your vision? Get out of the way or our wildebeest beasts will stomp on you and turn you into a meat pie," a green-robed girl next to Xianxia said arrogantly. Oh. The blind old man raised his head with a calm look as he came to a standstill. Do you want to die? Move. She took a long whip from the waist of her wildebeest beast and swung it at the old man. Perhaps the blind old man was in luck. He happened to move to the side and thus dodged her whip. What? The girl's eyes burned with fury. She was about to swing her whip again. Stop. The grim-faced young man's deep and reproachful voice resounded. But the girl in green turned to look at Xianxia. Give him some money and ask him to leave, Xianxia said. You want me to go? The girl appeared deeply unhappy. Hurry up and do it. Xianxia's voice turned cold. The girl dared not to disobey his order. She climbed down from her wildebeest beast and walked up to the blind old man. Come on. I'll take you aside, the girl said impatiently. She subconsciously placed her hand on the old man's shoulder. The blind old man snorted. Which family are you from, little girl? How can you speak to an elder in such a rude manner? Today I'll teach you a lesson in your elder's stead. He raised his bamboo stick and swiped the girl. The old man's action appeared so casual that everyone thought that he was just brandishing the stick as he lectured the girl. Even a smart kid would be able to dodge the stick, never mind the green-robed girl. She was a warrior in the spiritual sea realm. It would almost be too easy for her to do so. However, thwack! The bamboo stick hit her on the butt without facing any obstacle whatsoever. The girl could feel the scorching pain on her butt. She instantly flew into a rage. You old bastard, I'm going to kill you. She screamed furiously. How disobedient. I'll hit you again. The old man once again brandished his stick. Thwack! The girl took another blow on the same place, making her face turn even redder. This time, however, she reacted calmly. She stared at the blind old man, somewhat stupefied. The others were also looking at him with astonishment. Perhaps it was a coincidence that the girl failed to evade the old man's first blow. It was another story now that she had been hit twice. This blind old man. Surprise took hold of the disciples of Sword Marquis Mansion that were riding their wildebeest beasts. Xianxia then got off his wildebeest beast and came up to the blind old man. Xianxia apologized to the old man with a sincere, humble attitude. Please forgive my cousin for she didn't mean to offend you. She's still young. Unlike the green-robed girl and other disciples of Sword Marquis Mansion, his abundant experience taught him to never judge a book by its cover. The old man's 2 successive attacks might look simple, but they had successfully hit their target. He knew that he could not belittle this old man. Instead of moving out of the way of a blind old man walking down the street, you made your cousin ask me to leave. You deserve to be punished as well, the old man said, pretending to be unreasonable. He waved his bamboo stick again. He made a simple strike in the manner of a mother punishing her child. Xianxia stared at the stick in alarm and moved out of the way before the old man moved the stick. Thwack! Xianxia was forced to squat. His eyes were full of shock. The crowd was dumbfounded. The green-robed girl was a weak 14-year-old. However, Xianxia was the genius of Sword Marquis Mansion who had just won the first prize in the Eastermost hunt. He was the strongest among the experts of the younger generation of the 10 dynasties. It was a shock that he suffered a blow as well. Boy, are you unhappy with the result? You can come and try it again. The old man waved at Xianxia with a sly smile on his face. Elder, please advise me, Xianxia said with a serious expression. Instead of anger, his eyes were filled with strong excitement. The triple-kill sword appeared in Xianxia's hand. Jian Wushuang took a deep breath. Xianxia brandished his sword. The sword moved as slickly as if it was a spiritual snake slithering through the void. How fast? Too fast. Is this the true strength of the champion of the Easternmost hunt? The warriors could not help exclaiming when they saw Xianxia's performance. But all of a sudden, thwack! The triple-kill sword flew out of Xianxia's hands. The seemingly powerless bamboo stick struck him and he felt a stinging pain. How is this possible? Xianxia was stupefied. He didn't use his spiritual power at all. His power is as weak as that of an ordinary human, and his attack is excruciatingly slow too. How did I end up losing? Even as Xianxia doubted himself, the excitement in his eyes became stronger and stronger. Chapter 1164. One Strike. Senior, please advise me again. Xianxia had already picked up his triple-kill sword. He stared at the blind old man, his eyes full of great passion and delight. Oh! The old man smiled as he nodded. Xianxia drew out his sword again. His movement was exceedingly fast and powerful, unleashing a torrent of spiritual power that formed a whirlpool. It's the traceless sword skill of Sword Marquis Mansion. Someone exclaimed. The old man swung his bamboo stick. Thwack! Xianxia's triple-kill sword was thrown into the air again. Strike again, senior. Xianxia was not discouraged in the least. He picked up the triple-kill sword from the ground again and continued to thrust his sword at the old man. What a crafty strike! It looks like a viper. Thwack! The triple-kill sword fell to the ground. That's the Blood Moon sword skill of Sword Marquis Mansion. Thwack! The triple-kill sword fell to the ground. That's Xianxia's most powerful attack. Thwack! The triple-kill sword ended up on the ground again. Xianxia launched a series of attacks, going all out with each. Even so, the blind old man continued to brandish his bamboo stick and toss Xianxia's sword into the air over and over again. What astonished the crowd most was that the old man's movement appeared slow and his blows weak. However, Xianxia failed to withstand his attacks. Xianxia had used more than 10 sword skills throughout the dozen rounds of their fight, but ended up losing his sword each time. The outcome was the same even after so many times. The onlookers were all thoroughly dumbfounded. No one had any doubt that this powerless-looking old man harbored an unpredictable strength. Whoosh! Xianxia took a deep breath before looking at the blind old man with a serious look. Under everyone's watchful eyes, he kowtowed to the old man. I'm Xianxia. I implore you to take me as your disciple and teach me swordsmanship. Disciple? The genius of Sword Marquis Mansion wants to make this blind old man his master? He's the great genius who won the Easternmost hunt. It's rumored that many experts in the Yang Void Realm and Divine Transcendence Realm wanted him as a disciple, but he had refused them all. But he's now asking to be this old man's disciple? Xianxia's action stirred heated discussions among the people on the street. That old man shook his head when he saw Xianxia kneeling before him. I'm not an expert. I'm not qualified to be your master. Speaking of swordsmanship, I know just one move which I use to punish my grandson. He's a troublemaker and I hit his but when he makes trouble. Are you willing to learn that? The crowd was confused. Punish his grandson? He's going to teach a technique to hit a child's butt? Yes. Xianxia kept nodding, his eyes filled with delight and desire. Fine. I'll then impart this to you. The blind old man took a step forward and stopped in front of Xianxia. He raised his wrinkled hand and pointed at Xianxia's midbrows. Then, he turned around and left. Before leaving, he left a string of words. I owe the Red Sun Tavern some money. Go there and pay my bills off. That's your tuition fee. Xianxia's eyes were wide open. The scene of the old man brandishing his stick appeared in his mind, giving him a close look at the move that the old man used. Common as it appeared, it was a terrifying show of swordsmanship. It was not until now that Xianxia realized this. The reason he even thought that the old man's strike was common was that he was weak and his realm was still too low. This is an opportunity, a golden opportunity. Xianxia clenched his hands as he trembled with delight. He then left for the Red Sun Tavern and paid for the blind old man's liquor. Meanwhile, there were two figures hovering side by side above the street. One was an elegant woman dressed in a black robe, and the other was a middle-aged man in a splendid silver robe. The man emanated an air of majesty. Both of them had been around to witness how the blind old man taught Xianxia a lesson. Upper Elder, what do you think of this? The middle-aged man asked, looking concerned. He's strong, the elegant woman replied with a serious look. He didn't use his spiritual power or other special powers in his attacks, but still effortlessly tossed Xiaoyao's sword to the ground with technique alone. But I can't see anything special about his strike, she added. She furrowed her brows. It was impossible for an attack, imbued with the strength of an ordinary human, capable of repeatedly unarming Xiaoyao to be ordinary. This could only prove that her realm was still too low. Hey, where's the old man? The middle-aged man looked down at the street with a surprised expression. They had been keeping an eye on the blind old man all along, but in the blink of an eye, he had disappeared. Suddenly, a gentle voice came from behind them. Looking for me? What? Both the elegant woman and the middle-aged man were taken aback. The man was evidently less than a meter away from them, but they did not even know, since when he had been standing there, how did both of them fail to notice his arrival? Swish! Swish! When they turned around, they saw the blind old man standing there with a smile on his face and a stick in his hand. He was less than a meter away from them. You, the elegant woman uttered. You youngsters should get a taste of my stick too, the old man said as he brandished his stick. His sudden attack shocked them both. They never expected the old man to target them. They had been watching all along, never stepping in even when he was teaching their disciples a lesson. How did they somehow piss off the old man? Surprised as they were, they did not forget to defend themselves. However, thwack, thwack. The old man used the stick to knock their weapons out of their hands and hit them without stopping. Their bodies sank downward with the force of his attacks. They continued to crash until they landed near the street. The two of them appeared to be in a miserable condition. Chapter 1165, Old Acquaintances. Damn it! Both the elegant woman and the middle-aged man were furious. With their distinguished statuses, they had always stood high above the masses. It was difficult for normal people to even see them. Now, the old man had beat them up so badly that they fell near such a crowded street. What? The elegant woman's expression underwent a drastic change. She lowered her head to look at the crowded street below. She was now hovering in the air and stood less than 10 meters above ground. Most people could see her if they just lifted their heads. To her surprise, the woman discovered that everyone on the street was so preoccupied with their affairs that they did not notice her. The crowd ignored her as if she was air. It was as if they were in another world. What's happening? The middle-aged man's eyes widened when he noticed the same. We're right here above the street, but no one noticed us even after all that commotion. What did he do? The elegant woman was dumbfounded. She knew that the pedestrians were neither deaf nor blind. The only possible explanation was that the blind old man had used some powerful skill to temporarily silence their hearing and eyesight. That was why the crowd did not notice them. What an incredible skill! She took a deep breath. She came to realize that she had come across an incredibly formidable expert. You're those youngsters' elders, aren't you? The old man asked coldly as he stood there. The elegant woman and the middle-aged man finally responded after some hesitation. I'm Xianyu, the upper elder of Sword Marquis Mansion. I'm Xianhua, Sword Marquis of Sword Marquis Mansion. Nice to meet you. So one of you is the upper elder and the other is the Sword Marquis. The blind old man smiled. He pointed at Xianyu and said, "You look like my old friend from Sword Marquis Mansion. Do you know her? May I know her name?" Xianyu asked. Jian Meng'er, the blind old man answered. Jian Meng'er? Xianyu was stunned and a hint of terror flitted across her pupils. She was my great-grandmother who passed away 2,000 years ago. Senior, are you really her old friend? Emotions surged wildly in Xianyu and Xianhua. Jian Meng'er had been one of the most powerful figures in the history of Sword Marquis Mansion. She was also acquainted with the incredible founder of Sword Marquis Mansion, Jian Wushuang. When he disappeared, Jian Meng'er had managed Sword Marquis Mansion on her own. Though she had been decently talented, the peak of the Yang Void Realm was all she could achieve. Since she had not reached the Saint Realm, she lived mere hundreds of years. It had been over 2,000 years since her death. But this blind old man had introduced himself as Jian Meng'er's old acquaintance. This man is an old monster who's the same age as my great-grandmother? Xianyu was in shock. Old monster? That was true. Jian Wushuang was considered a youngster with a short cultivation age over in the Green Fire world. But over in the ancient world, a man more than 2,000 years old was undoubtedly an old monster. Your great-grandma and I were old friends. Today, I happened to run into some arrogant juniors from Sword Marquis Mansion. The old man snorted. Sword Marquis Mansion might be influential in the Nanyang continent now, but don't you forget that there are countless experts in this world who are capable of destroying Sword Marquis Mansion. I advise you to keep a low profile or you might end up offending some tough enemy. Moreover, you elders should be monitoring your juniors' behavior. You can't let them bully others in the name of Sword Marquis Mansion. Most importantly, never forget your past suffering. Don't forget that Sword Marquis Mansion was weak once. It owes its influence and prestige today to all its past hardships. Us members of Sword Marquis Mansion will bear your words in mind, Jian replied respectfully. Well, that's quite enough. Those words just came to mind. The blind old man waved his hand. Besides, I have a manual of swordsmanship with me. Now it's yours. You can discuss how to utilize it. He threw a token and then vanished. Jian Yu and Jian Hua looked at each other in confusion. Upper Elder, who was that? Jian Hua asked, frowning. I have no idea. Jian Yu shook her head. He looks like a good man who bears no malice towards Sword Marquis Mansion. Besides, he left us a manual. His words and actions show his dissatisfaction with our current situation. It seems that he's disappointed with us. Is he really my great-grandmother's acquaintance? Perhaps. But he reminded me that our rising influence in the Nanyang continent in recent years has attracted the attention of many forces. Moreover, it's true that our juniors are increasingly unruly, the middle-aged man said. One of our clansmen had recently slaughtered a faction of Qianzhong dynasty with his men for a woman's sake, but our elders merely turned a blind eye to this. One of our geniuses assassinated a talent with a higher ranking on the earthly dragon list. What the hell are they doing? Why didn't you bring this up before? Jian Yu asked in a reproachful tone, her eyes turning razor-sharp. I only found out a couple of days ago. Sword Marquis Mansion seems strong and united on the surface, but it has been divided into many clans fighting for their own benefits. Though I'm the Sword Marquis, I'm incapable of changing this situation on my own. After all, I have to balance these clans. Those useless fools. Jian Yu's voice was terribly cold. That elder is right. We've been comfortable for so long that many of us have forgotten how we had struggled to become stronger. It seems that we should start cleaning up our act. It's time for those elders to learn a lesson or two. I'm too weak to achieve this myself, but it's possible with your support, Jian Hua replied. Chapter 1166, Wushuang Sword Pavilion. Then just go for it. We owe our current position to our great ancestor. Without him, Sword Marquis Mansion would have perished a long time ago. He had tried so hard to lay the foundation for us. We can't let those pests ruin his efforts. Jian Yu clenched her hands, her eyes flashing with firm determination. Oh right, the elder left us a manual. She stared at the token in her hand. She allowed her consciousness to enter the token. Then, all of a sudden, her eyes opened wide. Terrifying. What a terrifying swordsmanship. Do you mean the manual that the elder gave us? He knows such terrifying swordsmanship and used such amazing skills. Who is he? He can't be great-grandmother's old acquaintance. Her great-grandmother had merely reached the peak of the Yang Void Realm and had not befriended any high-standing individuals. Yet that blind old man had called himself her old friend. If he knew great-grandmother, why did he only return after 2,000 years? Moreover, if he was just a friend, he had no reason to care about Sword Marquis Mansion. He had been so disappointed earlier. He's not my great-grandmother's old acquaintance. I think he has a close connection to Sword Marquis Mansion. Perhaps he's one of our ancestors. Our ancestor? Jian Yu was stunned. Is he, our patriarch? Their founder was a legend in the history of Sword Marquis Mansion. Yes. That's him. He's undoubtedly our patriarch. Jian Yu exclaimed with excitement. Our patriarch's disappearance back then was a mystery. Some suggested that he didn't die but left for a vast world to pursue higher cultivation. He must have returned from that world. He showed up to teach us a lesson after noticing our internal corruption. He intended to enlighten us. Patriarch. He's our patriarch. Jian Yu was thrilled. It took her a while to calm down and she grasped the token tightly. From now on, the swordsmanship inside this token is the most precious treasure in Sword Marquis Mansion. Only the most talented is qualified to learn it, and he must take a blood oath to never impart it to others. Whoever breaks the oath will be disposed of as a traitor. Jian Wushuang returned to his own appearance after reappearing in the void. He took slow steps, but the span of each step covered thousands of miles. Why did you pretend to be a blind old man to teach your juniors a lesson instead of revealing your identity? Ji King asked. Reveal my identity? Jian Wushuang shook his head. Before setting foot in the Nanyang continent, he had intended to reunite with his juniors of Sword Marquis Mansion as himself. However, he changed his mind after walking into the tavern outside Sword Marquis Mansion. He had spent half a day staying there, and while he drank alone, his soul power had already covered the whole city. He had heard many conversations between warriors as well as between commoners. Certain conversations taking place in private quarters were particularly eye-opening. It was not until he heard these conversations that he realized how bad the corruption and disunity in the current Sword Marquis Mansion had become. Factions are formed and fellow clansmen plot against one another. In the fight for more interests, some even lay hands on another in private. Most disciples of the younger generation are snobs who bully others without concern for consequences, Jian Wushuang said with a grim expression. They're conceited and fearless even without me around. Won't they become even more audacious if I reappear in public, thinking that I have their backs? He did not want to see the current situation in Sword Marquis Mansion. He had shown up to punish junior disciples and even two elders, Jian Yu and Jian Hua, as a warning for them to keep a low profile and realize the crisis within Sword Marquis Mansion. I've done all that I should do. The future of Sword Marquis Mansion is up to them now, Jian Wushuang murmured. He had done more than enough, be it doling out advice or punishment. He had no intention of interfering with the development of Sword Marquis Mansion. In fact, he did not even mind its decline, as long as it could be inherited from generation to generation. After all, he could not stay here and guard Sword Marquis Mansion forever. What's your next move? Ji King asked. Let's head for the Divine Land now. I'm worried that girl can't hang on any longer, Jian Wushuang answered with a smile. A girl? Does she have anything to do with you? Ji King asked. You'll know when we arrive there. Jian Wushuang continued his journey at full speed. It did not take him long to reach the Divine Land from the Nanyang continent without even taking the wormhole. The Divine Land was the core of this realm. The ancient world was under its control. Back when Jian Wushuang first roamed the Divine Land, there were 3 ancestors, 9 sovereigns, and 72 marquises here. These were all top figures of the Divine Land. However, it had been 2,000 years. Things had changed a lot, as did the layout of the Divine Land. Now, for influential factions ruled over the Divine Land. The 4 forces were under the leadership of 4 overlords. One of them was called Wushuang Sword Pavilion. Wushuang Sword Pavilion appeared 2,000 years ago. Its founder was a woman named Lin Lan. Lin Lan used to be one of the 72 marquises. Her cultivation speed had been fast but not impressive. But later, she made great progress and entered the skyscraping realm within 100 years. Since then, she was one of the most powerful experts in the ancient world. The warriors of the Divine Land respectfully called her Queen Lanyu. Under her leadership, Wushuang Sword Pavilion had existed in harmony with the other factions in the Divine Land for the past 2,000 years. However, in recent years, Wushuang Sword Pavilion had turned against Spirit Palace, one of the 4 overlords. Both parties had descended into endless ferocious fights. In the beginning, the 2 overlords had been evenly matched. But later, Wushuang Sword Pavilion was soon placed at a disadvantage. Today, Spirit Palace had directly broken into their stronghold. Wushuang Sword Pavilion was located on a vast land among the giant mountains. Bang! 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 Deafening explosions resounded in succession, the sound reverberating throughout the mountains. The whole Wushuang sword pavilion had fallen into a state of manic slaughter. Chapter 1167. Queen Lanyu. Ha ha, Lin Lan, or should I call you the famous Queen Lanyu? I said that one day, I will completely wipe out your Wushuang sword pavilion and make you mine. Today, you can't run, can you? A tall, bald man was waving his big axe and laughing wildly. His opponent was a glamorous and beautiful woman. This woman had a perfect body and face, and most importantly, a very noble and incomparable temperament. Queen Lanyu was crowned the female emperor because she had always held a high status. For more than 2,000 years, her Wushuang sword pavilion had never been touched. Her title of the female emperor was well deserved. Well, you're not qualified to mess with me yet. The voice of Queen Lanyu was cold and fierce. With an air of majesty, she swept her long sword and broke out her full strength of skyscraping realm. There were many strong players on the field, but no one could confront her. Even the talkative bald man who was the palace master of Spirit Palace in skyscraping realm had to admit that Queen Lanyu was definitely much better than him. Ha ha, I can't touch you, but someone can and will. The bald man laughed and looked at Void next to him. Master Kong, it's your turn. Master Kong? Queen Lanyue's eyes narrowed. The bald man was in the skyscraping realm and could beat all of the divine land experts. Who was qualified to make him respectfully call master? Soon, she saw Master Kong. It turned out to be a chubby elder who had a pair of eyes as small as those of mouses. This chubby old man slowly walked over and soon appeared in front of Queen Lanyu. Is she Queen Lanyu? The chubby old man looked Queen Lanyu as if she had been an ant. That's her. The bald man respectfully said. Queen Lanyu looked grave. Normally, with her strength, in ancient world, no one should be able to fear her. However, when the chubby old man appeared in front of her, she had an instinct feeling of terror and even pictured herself losing the battle. This chubby old man stood there, and Queen Lanyu did not even have the courage to fight back. Who are you? She clenched her teeth, suppressed her fear hard, and shouted. I'm Kong Ming. The chubby old man spoke. Queen Lanyue's heart sank. She never heard of a formidable expert called Kong Ming, not only on divine land but also in other ancient worlds. The horror that this Kong Ming brought to her. You are from the eternal world? Queen Lanyu asked coldly. You are not stupid. The chubby old man smiled and confessed. I heard that you have been collecting the ancient world tokens for many years. You want to go to the eternal world, right? In addition, I also heard from the place master of Spirit Palace that you have a master. Your Wushuang sword pavilion is named after him. Your master is said to have gone to Eternal World by ancient world tokens more than 2,000 years ago. If I'm right, you want to go to Eternal World to find your master, right? Ha ha, what a good apprentice. Unfortunately, you misunderstand the Eternal World. Your master might be something in the ancient world, but once he reaches the Eternal World, he will find that he is just a cockroach. In the Eternal World, there are a lot of people stronger than him. He went to the Eternal World alone, and I'm afraid that he would have died long ago. Upon hearing this, Queen Lanyu clenched her teeth and suppressed her anger. She respected her master most in her entire life. Her master reinvented her. She attributed her current achievements entirely to her master Jian Wushuang. In her heart, her master was the same as God. Thus, even when she created her own force, she named it after her master. In recent years, as the Firmament Territory Feast was about to open again, she had desperately collected the ancient world tokens only to keep up with the pace of her master. Now, when she heard such nonsense, she would naturally turn furious. At this time, Kong Ming spoke once again. Since you really want to go to the Eternal World, I can help you. From today, you will be with me and serve me. If you do a great job, when I recover, I'll take you to the Eternal World, and even find your master. How about that? Hearing this, Queen Lanyu was even more angered. Why? This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Are you reluctant? Kong Ming smirked. Master Kong? The Spirit Palace master frowned. He also longed for a woman like Queen Lanyu. Who in the world did not want to conquer a peerless woman like her? Do you have a problem with that? Kong Ming peeked sideways at the Spirit Palace Master. No, I don't. The Spirit Palace Master shook his head fearfully. Well, you just follow my orders and make preparations in time so that I can quickly recover. I'll get everything you want, but if you can't help me, you have to die either. Kong Ming scolded. Yes, my lord. The Spirit Palace Master nodded in a row, in fear that Master Kong would be unhappy. He knew very clearly that this Master Kong, despite being seriously injured and lesser than his usual strength, could still kill him like an ant. Queen Lanyu, I'm not that patient. Do you really want to give away this opportunity? Kong Ming glimpsed her one more time. You want me to serve you? You wish. Queen Lanyu shouted coldly. Oh, you're not willing to? Kong Ming cocked one eyebrow and smiled coolly. Then I'll have to do it the hard way. Finishing his words, he waved his hand and summoned a huge palm. The giant hand appeared, and the whole world shook. The surrounding void cracked, huge space rifts appear, and all the engaged people in Wushuang Sword Pavilion stopped and fled. In moments, the giant hand approached Queen Lanyu. Chapter 1168. I am her master. Queen Lanyu's teeth were gritted, and her body was shaking. Watching the giant hand approaching her, she desperately wanted to resist. But she found herself unable to move. Is this the end? Queen Lanyu muttered, showing a desperate look. Suddenly, the rushing huge palm disappeared. Without a sign, it vanished into the void. The overwhelming power contained in the palm disappeared without a trace. This is... She looked dumbfounded. Everyone present appeared baffled. On the other hand, all color had left the face of the owner of the huge palm, Kong Ming. Who is it? Kong Ming retorted, and his voice echoed throughout the heavens and earth, lingering for a long time. At that time, in the distant sky, a scarlet-robed figure appeared and was slowly approaching Kong Ming. Although he was slow, he had walked a long way with merely 2 steps, arriving at the center of the battlefield. The figure stopped. It was a figure of a young man who was carrying a long sword. As he waved his sleeves, the whole world went completely quiet. Seeing the person, Kong Ming squinted and cast a cold look. Queen Lanyu stared at the person in disbelief. Who are you? Asked Kong Ming in a low voice. Me. Jian Wushuang was smiling faintly. Didn't you just mention me? Mentioned you? Kong Ming paused thoughtfully before he realized. You are Queen Lanyu's master? Yes, I am her master. As for the name, it's Jian Wushuang. I wonder if you have heard of it. Jian Wushuang remained calm. A junior who just has lived for more than 2,000 years. How will I know you? Kong Ming snorted, full of disdain in his heart. When Jian Wushuang quietly undid his attack, he thought that he might be very strong and perhaps reached Eternal Realm. When he knew who Jian Wushuang was, he did not bother to pay attention to him. He's only been in the Eternal World for 2,000 years. In such a short time, even if he's somewhat talented, what level can he reach? A Divine Realm expert is the best he can be. Kong Ming thought to himself. He was an Eternal Realm and was among the best ones. In the whole wide world, only few top Dao masters were worthy of his attention. It was not every day you got to see a Dao master. Being in the Eternal World for 2,000 years, how could he become a Dao master? How could he be? Naturally, Kong Ming did not pay close attention to Jian Wushuang. This ancient world belongs to the Firmament territory, where I'm famous. Every Eternal Realm should know my name by now. However, if Kong Ming doesn't know me, that means he didn't come from the Firmament territory. Jian Wushuang folded his hands behind his back with a rather strange look. After he came to the ancient world, he had deliberately concealed his own aura to stay under Kong Ming's radar. And looking at the current situation, Kong Ming really did not take him seriously. Jian Wushuang, I want your disciple as my maid and take her to the Eternal World. You're fine with that, aren't you? Kong Ming put on airs, looked at Jian Wushuang, and laid all his Eternal Realm aura onto Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang did not know whether to cry or to laugh. An Eternal Realm tried to lay pressure on him by his aura? There are a lot of people who are ignorant under the sun. You are one of them. Jian Wushuang smiled and spoke. You want to take my disciple to the ancient world? I certainly have no problems with that, but I have one condition. What condition? Kong Ming thought that Jian Wushuang had been completely overwhelmed by his eternal realm aura. You have to return to the eternal world. Jian Wushuang teased. Kong Ming looked stunned. You are playing with fire, kid. As he finished, Kong Ming stretched to tap at Jian Wushuang from a distance. The stroke shattered the fragile void in this ancient world. The whole world seemed to be torn into pieces. It was a scene that could shake the world. The scene struck fear into the hearts of warriors from both Wushuang Sword Pavilion and Spirit Palace. God! This is the power that God has. Does God really want to destroy our Wushuang Sword Pavilion? The Wushuang Sword Pavilion warriors growled. Queen Lanyu was panicked and worried. Kong Ming was full of killing intents. Although he was seriously injured, and could not play 1% of his strength. However, even if 1% of his power was enough to kill a normal divine realm expert. Abruptly, buzz. A breeze past the collapsed and ruined world quickly recovered. Kong Ming's stroke quietly dissipated without a trace. What? Kong Ming was stunned. Jian Wushuang glanced up coldly. Jian Wushuang's cold eyes left Kong Ming awestruck. He was frozen on the spot. His hairs stood up at once. I. Kong Ming opened his mouth, but could not say a word. Unprecedented fear snatched his heart. Only at this moment had he finally known who was standing in front of him. Dao Master. Is he a Dao Master? Kong Ming's eyes widened. Jian Wushuang blew a breath, and a sword essence formed. Though seemingly small, it left Kong Ming in great terror. He snarled. Don't you dare! My master is Dao Master Bloodtusk. I am Dao Master Bloodtusk's disciple. Oh! Jian Wushuang cocked an eyebrow, and the immaterial sword essence that was rushed toward Kong Ming stopped in the void. Kong Ming swallowed, and looked at the immaterial sword essence in terror, then immediately he crushed a token. As soon as the token was broken, there was a spectral image that was completely formed by consciousness appeared in the world. This consciousness spectral image formed the appearance of a red-haired elder, who sounded kind of evil. I wonder which Dao Master wants to kill my disciple. Dao Master Bloodtusk wants to meet him. Chapter 1169. Fear. The spectral image of the red-haired cold elder appeared in the world. It was only a spectral image of consciousness, but it still carried the power enough to destroy this entire ancient world. Seeing the red-haired cold elder, many surrounding warriors trembled and could not help but feel a feeling of worship. It was like seeing a real god. In fact, with his strength, the red-haired cold elder did hold a godlike position in the ancient world. Master! Kong Ming was elated and started to regain his confidence. So what if you're a Dao Master? My master is the famous Dao Master Bloodtusk in the eternal world. Kong Ming scorned Jian Wushuang in his heart. Dao Master Bloodtusk? Jian Wushuang smiled strangely. He heard of Dao Master Bloodtusk. He was a Dao Master at the peak of rank 2, and was indeed a strong expert even on Void Continent. Moreover, he was said to be a protege of Ape Holy Master. With a benefactor like that, he really had a good reason to look down the entire Void Continent experts. Is it you that wants to kill my disciple? The consciousness spectral image of Dao Master Bloodtusk looked at Jian Wushuang. Yes, it's me. What do you propose? Jian Wushuang smirked. Do you want to stop me by a spectral image of consciousness? Well, I can't really. But, mark my words, if you dare to touch my disciple, I'll guarantee that, on the entire Void Continent, there'll be no place for you. Dao Master Bloodtusk warned in a cold tone. Oh! Jian Wushuang cocked an eyebrow and laughed. You really can talk, but I don't know where such confidence came from, just because Ape Holy Master is backing you. Do you know Ape Holy Master? Dao Master Bloodtusk immediately frowned. Ape Holy Master was the absolute overlord of Void Continent, and the monarch of North Sea Kingdom of the 4 big countries. He had both strength and influence. On Void Continent, almost no one dared to mess with him. But now, the scarlet-robed young man, who knew Ape Holy Master was backing him, still looked confident, as if he did not take Ape Holy Master seriously. Kid, Who are you? Tao Master Blood Tusk glared at Jian Wushuang. I am just an ordinary person from the ancient world. I have just entered the eternal world about 2,000 years ago. As for my name, I am afraid it'll disturb you. Jian Wushuang smiled. Disturb me? Tao Master Blood Tusk was disdainful. Master, this person is called Jian Wushuang, and he has only been in the eternal world for 2,000 years. I do not know how he got to be a Tao Master. Kong Ming added. However, hearing Kong Ming, Tao Master Blood Tusk's consciousness spectral image froze on the spot. His originally cold face turned into a shocked one, with terror in his eyes. What is his name again? Tao Master Blood Tusk teeth chattered from fear. His name is Jian Wushuang. What's the matter? Kong Ming was in doubt. Hearing Kong Ming confirmed, Tao Master Blood Tusk was awestruck and dazed. Jian Wushuang? Among the top powerhouses on Void Continent, how many of them did not know Jian Wushuang? Although he had never seen him, he had heard Jian Wushuang numerous times from Ape Holy Master and many other Tao Masters. He actually had been a headache and a monster in Ape Holy Master's eyes. And now, he told the monster that he would leave him no place on Void Continent? Had he really said that? Master Jian Wushuang. Tao Master Blood Tusk spoke again, but this time his voice trembled. His words left the whole battlefield in chaos. And Kong Ming was completely stunned. Master. His master Tao Master Blood Tusk actually called him Master after hearing his name? Didn't you call the opponent Master only when the opponent was too strong to be messed with? Could it be that this Jian Wushuang, who had only been in the eternal world for 2,000 years, made his master Tao Master Blood Tusk scared? Moon Queen Lan, as well as many disciples of the Wushuang Sword Pavilion, were stunned. Although they did not know how strong Tao Master Blood Tusk was, they knew that Kong Ming was already formidable, and his master must be even more mighty. But the very Tao Master Blood Tusk actually became so scared after hearing Jian Wushuang's name. In 2,000 years, what had Jian Wushuang gone through? What level had he reached? Tao Master Blood Tusk. Jian Wushuang spoke, and the voice was still bland. I'll take your disciple's life. No problem. Tao Master Blood Tusk answered, this damn thing has actually offended you, he deserves to die. Even if you don't do it, I will personally kill him when we return to the eternal world. Master. Kong Ming's eyes widened and he looked shocked. His master had always been looking for the disciples, but now he did not hesitate to throw him away. Obviously, his master was terrified of the Tao Master called Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang squinted and the immaterial sword essence that had been suspended in the void once again plucked. This time, it directly shot into Kong Ming's head, crushed his life core. Kong Ming died on the spot. This scene made Spirit Palace Master tremble, and dare not to move. As for you, Jian Wushuang peeked at Tao Master Blood Tusk's consciousness spectral image and muttered, you'd better stay in the place where you live now, and it's best not to tell anyone about it today. I have already reported it to Ape Holy Master. Tao Master Blood Tusk was horrified. Oh, just him? Jian Wushuang looked cold. Yes, just him. Tao Master Blood Tusk nodded quickly. All right, off you go. Jian Wushuang waved. Master, so today? Tao Master Blood Tusk carefully looked at Jian Wushuang. I'll let it go. Jian Wushuang answered. Thank you, Master. Tao Master Blood Tusk felt relieved, and bowed respectfully. Then his consciousness spectral image disappeared in the void. Jian Wushuang looked in the direction where Tao Master Blood Tusk vanished. Tao Master Blood Tusk did not know that even if Jian Wushuang let him off, that did not mean others would not. Chapter 1170. Helpless Ape Holy Master. Chapter 1170 Helpless Ape Holy Master. The news that Jian Wushuang was still alive was a top secret. Only 5 Palace Masters knew it. Now, Tao Master Blood Tusk and Ape Holy Master knew it. One could imagine what would happen next. Deep in a stretch of mountains, there was a huge blood-red castle. This blood-colored castle was where Tao Master Blood Tusk lived. In the deepest part of the castle, Tao Master Blood Tusk was leaning on the bed. Get out, all of you. Tao Master Blood Tusk's growl rang throughout the castle, The maids who were serving and the beautiful dancers in front of him all withdrew. Tao Master Bloodtusk rose up and looked terrible. Idiot! I shouldn't have accepted him as my disciples. He used to be careless. Being hunted down by his enemies, he fled to the ancient world. I managed to get rid of the enemy for him. He'll only need some time to recover and then return to Green Fire World. I did not expect this idiot actually went to mess with Jian Wushuang. How could he mess with Jian Wushuang? Not even Ape Holy Master dares to confront him. Jian Wushuang can kill me so easily. Being in the Eternal Realm, why did he mess with Jian Wushuang? Idiot, really stupid. Tao Master Bloodtusk madly cursed. Although Kong Ming was dead, Tao Master Bloodtusk still wanted to resurrect him, in order to kill him with cruel means. It was really a formidable person that he had offended this time. After a long time, Tao Master Bloodtusk gradually calmed down. Fortunately, Jian Wushuang was nice. I bowed and apologized. He just let me off, otherwise. Tao Master Bloodtusk could not help feeling fearful. If Jian Wushuang really wanted him dead, then he would stand no place of surviving in Green Fire World. Anyway, I'm still alive. Tao Master Bloodtusk let out a sigh of relief. But at this time... What? Tao Master Bloodtusk sensed something. He noticed that two auras had entered his castle, and in a moment they appeared in front of him. They were a man and a woman, and their auras were very energetic, which both reached the rank 3 Tao Master level. Master Yang and Master Ku, what brings you two here? Tao Master Bloodtusk immediately got up and greeted. Among the 18 masters of Void Temple, he could not afford to offend any of them. Naturally, he greeted respectfully. Tao Master Bloodtusk, we're here under Temple Master's orders to kill you. Master Ku said directly. What? Tao Master Bloodtusk was greatly shocked and exclaimed. To kill me? How is this possible? I have never offended the Void Temple. How will the Void Temple Master order to kill me? Have you mistaken? Temple Master issued the order himself. We couldn't have made a mistake. Now, prepare to die. Master Ku's voice was cold, and the next moment he struck directly. No, it's impossible. How can he want me dead for no reason? Tao Master Bloodtusk resisted as he screamed wildly. I'll report it to Ape Holy Master. Ape Holy Master will help me. Ape Holy Master. Master Ku laughed. He can hardly protect himself now. How can he manage to help you? Master Ku and Master Yang had prepared for a long time. Before they started, they laid a restriction around the castle, so that Tao Master Bloodtusk had no way to escape. Even the message could not be transmitted again. Only for a moment, Tao Master Bloodtusk was killed. On the other side, in the distant North Sea Kingdom, Ape Holy Master was alone in the secret room cultivating a secret skill. Suddenly, a figure came, and at the same time, an immaterial power had covered the entire secret room to stop any message from going out. VO Void Temple Master? Ape Holy Master looked at the person who appeared in front of him in surprise. The Supreme Void Temple Master on Void Continent, one of Green Fire Palace Masters, actually appeared in front of him in the flesh. Void Temple Master. Ape Holy Master immediately respectfully saluted. What brings you here? Ape Holy Master. Is Tao Master Bloodtusk your protégés? Void Temple Master sounded indifferent. Yes, he is. Ape Holy Master nodded subconsciously. Not long ago, did this Tao Master Bloodtusk send a message to you? Void Temple Master asked again. Yes, he did. Ape Holy Master nodded again. He told me that in the ancient world, he saw Jian Wushuang. That's right. Void Temple Master's eyes became cold. Temple Master, what's wrong? Ape Holy Master was in doubt. This secret room is already protected. I might as well tell you that is already capable to be a Green Fire Palace Master. And he has a great potential. He will definitely become the Green Fire Palace leader. Void Temple Master commented. Become a leader? Jian Wushuang? Ape Holy Master widened his eyes. Being a Holy Master and a member of the Green Fire Palace, though he did not live in the Green Fire Palace and was not kept posted, he knew that the leaders of Green Fire Palace were all formidable. He had met with Jian Wushuang and even bore hostility toward him. But the hostility only came from the battle between North Sea Kingdom and Kingdom Tang of the Eastern Land. It was nothing personal. He also acknowledged Jian Wushuang's talent. When the three big countries joined forces to attack Kingdom Tang of the Eastern Land, Jian Wushuang came to their rescue. But he never expected that Jian Wushuang had grown so much in such a short time. He was talented, thus the Jin Kingdom has tried to assassinate him at all costs, and in that assassination, he was dead. Said Void Temple Master. Dead. But Ape Holy Master froze and looked up at Void Temple Master. He had guessed why Void Temple Master came to him in person. I think you should already understand. Void Temple Master looked down. His survival is a top secret. Even in Green Fire Palace, only Palace Masters know about it. But now, you learn the secret. Ape Holy Master was feeling helpless. He never wanted to learn it, though. It was Dao Master Bloodtusk that told him the secret. Dao Master Bloodtusk has been killed. Well, you're one of our Green Fire Palace and a valuable soldier. I won't kill you, but it can't let you stay on Void Continent anymore, so until Jian Wushuang becomes the leader of the Green Fire Palace to deal with the Jin Kingdom, you have to stay in my Oblivion Palace.